The Stampede arc is super hot right now. Not only have there been developments specific to the individual characters such as Gizol, Jidden, and Ito, but there are also many mysteries and hints, which makes it interesting. It is not yet complete, but this time, I will introduce the highlights. I will introduce it in 5 main sections. Strong characters appear one after another, and there are many highlights, such as the plot of the character who was the trigger for Lloyd's reincarnation. First of all, the royal family is in a panic after receiving a report that a large group of monsters has been spotted. At that time, the first prince and princess return from their expedition. This is their first appearance scene. Personally, I think the first prince has had a high regard for Lloyd from the beginning, and senses that he is hiding something from her. Afterwards, after a happy reunion, we eat a meal and hear about the strength and accomplishments of the first prince and princess. Apparently, thanks to these two, the country's land area has expanded tenfold. They've been called the strongest knight order, and they're amazing. I can't believe there are still more strong characters hidden away. I'm curious to see what other hidden royals there are. Then they talk about the Stampede. It happened 10 years ago, and they say that at that time, the Stampede numbered 200,000. The two are acting all high and mighty. The second prince is completely exhausted, and the army is 7 times larger than last time, which means 1.4 million. This is, as you would expect, no joke. He couldn't hide his agitation. He was close to saying, "Don't mess with me." That's a lie. Even Lloyd had a difficult look on his face. There were 7 groups, each with 200,000. That's a total of 1.4 million. They'll arrive at Saloon in about 20 days. The number of soldiers we can prepare is 300,000. This is pretty dangerous. There is an overwhelming shortage of troops. Despair hits them, but then more tragic news hits. The leader of the knights, known as the Sword Saint, has fought with the leader of the pack and gone missing. A great hero, loved by both the people and the royal family, has gone missing. That person is Silpha's father. Even Silpha can't hide her shock. Then the military council begins. It seems that if they attack all the way to the Continental Gate, it will be dangerous. Lloyd sneaks into the military council, but is bored. This scene is cute and funny. This sudden scene is the charm of this manga, isn't it? Then the first prince plays a game of chess called Heige, and thinks of a strategy. The problem is that the power of the 7 masters is as strong as or even stronger than that of Silpha's father. Therefore, we predict that the power of the 7 masters is that of SS-class super monsters. Apparently the Adventurers Guild has also determined what constitutes an S-class monster, with a guideline that it is the fighting power of 10,000 monsters. SS-class monsters have yet to be measured. In any case, the first prince says that since there are not enough troops, he should appoint Lloyd as his adjutant and gather 5,000 soldiers. The second prince disagrees, saying that he will prepare an adjutant to rival him. Then the lieutenant appeared. That person was Silphas, the magician who had been defeated in Lloyd's previous life before he was reincarnated. However, Lloyd himself had no memory of it. The story goes back to when the second prince was a small child, when a commoner child approached him. That was Lloyd in his previous life. The two became good friends, but one day Lloyd in his previous life was defeated by Silphas. It seems Silphas was not happy with the way he interacted with the second prince as a commoner. This caused the second prince deep sadness. This is the description from Volume 1. Lloyd in his previous life was a little more mature. This setting seems like an afterthought. Then the story goes back to the second prince, who has hated Silphas ever since. Silphas doesn't know that Lloyd has been reincarnated, so he greets him by shaking his hand. But then he suddenly starts playing a game between magicians called Magic Matching. It seems to be a game where you take turns using the same amount of magic, but Lloyd goes too far from here. This made me laugh when I first saw it. Suddenly, an incredible magical power attacks Silphas. As expected, Silphas is frightened. From this point on, we start to get a better understanding of Silphas' character. The scene changes, and the task becomes gathering 5,000 soldiers. Lloyd grabs Grimo's face and starts to visualize it. Grimo is so cute here. It seems that Silphas is using money and power to gather soldiers. So, how will Lloyd gather them? Of course, he tries to do so using his magical powers, which he is good at. Suddenly, things took an unexpected turn. Lloyd got started right away. He created a space and used magic to create a vessel. Next, he used sacred magic to create armor and a helmet. Eventually, Grimoire noticed the abnormal situation. He wondered how much magic power he was constantly leaking. 5 minutes of this was enough for one alter magic spell. Even Jidin and Ito were frightened by this abnormal situation. I will explain alter magic and Ito in another video. Basically, the plot develops into a situation where everyone should use their magical powers to control these. However, the number of people they can control varies depending on the amount of magical power they possess. Jidin and Ito's classes can barely handle 1,000. By the way, Jidin can handle 1,000 with some spare power. In reality, it seems like he can handle 2,000. And it seems that Jidin has known the missing sword master for a while. What kind of past or connection does he have here? Since he is a former pope, there seems to be some kind of connection. And now things get really exciting. It's when Babylon goes to scout Stunbeat. There's an unexpected reunion, but for more details, please watch this video. They are training their magical soldiers, but have trouble because there is a lack of people who can handle them. They search for Dao and the others but can't find them, so they ask for help from past enemies and adventurers from the guild. The survival of the country is at stake, after all. They should cooperate. This kind of development is super exciting, right? And finally, it is time for the unveiling. Lloyd's squad has exceeded 10,000. That's double the quota. The second princes are understandably scared. As expected, Silphas starts to make a fuss. They hold a mock battle, but Silphas' squad is easily defeated. Lloyd has an expression on his face that is both boastful and indescribable. He tells the second princes that Ito made it with alchemy, since saying that Lloyd made it would cause problems. He skillfully and carefully lifts it up so that Silphas shuts up. In the end, it is revealed that Ito and Lloyd created it. The second prince, who knew everything, tells Silphas that he is below Lloyd, leaving Silphas with a runny nose and Lloyd with a smug look on his face. Next, they find Dao and Chen and try to use their special skill to find the leader of the knights. It seems that the key skill that Dao and the others can use is presence detection. Lloyd is surprised to hear from the second prince that when the monsters reach the Continental Gate at the deadline, the kings plan to use alter magic. As I said again, I will explain alter magic in another video. In any case, it is a dangerous magic. Next, the group begins marching with the soldiers. Along the way, various new characters appear and fight, but Lloyd is in big trouble as he loses control of his magical powers and goes out of control. The slightest thing can cause his magical powers to overflow, resulting in problems, making this a scary new character. And now we will introduce the SS class boss. This is very interesting. It's interesting, but there is absolutely no information available at the moment. One is unconfirmed, but the rest seem to be dungeon bosses. All of them are unique characters, and some are huge and look like treasure chests, which seems interesting. There are 7 bosses, each with a group of 200,000 monsters. The Stunbeat arc is still ongoing, but what kind of developments await us? This is just my personal speculation, but I think there may be an expansion in which one of them becomes a friend. There is one character that has yet to be revealed, but it seems like he has some connection with Lloyd. Will he end up becoming a friend or partner? Or maybe Lloyd did something wrong in the past and now he's a sworn enemy. There are various theories about the cause of the Stunbeat, including the concentration of magical power. Maybe it's some kind of man-made cause, an attack by Tartarus aimed at Lloyd. Maybe they'll revive Gizon, focus Lloyd's attention, and then attack while he's distracted. First of all, when Gizon was being resurrected by Tartarus, he heard the name of Tartarus and responded by asking, "What's that name?" This may be revealed in the Stun Beat arc. This is the end of the main story. Thank you for watching and liking my videos. It's encouraging. In addition, I would be happy if you could continue to subscribe to my channel. I'm not sure whether to explain about Ito and Tartarus next. I would be happy if you could let me know in the comments. See you next time.
This time, we will introduce Silpha Langris, Lloyd's tutor and maid, who was once an A-class adventurer feared as the Silver Sword Princess. A woman with an attractive body and a sense of humor. She is head over heels in love with her master, Lloyd. We will explain the following in order.
Silpha's profile. Silpha's past, law, Silpha's fighting power. I will explain these one by one. There is a survey at. As for Silpha's profile, it's not written on the official website. If you know, please let me know, but my guess is that she's around 20 years old. She's 165 centimeters tall. From top to bottom, she's 908595. Her father is the commander of the Saloon Knights. Her mother was an adventurer. Her father also seems to be very strong. If you have any other information, please let me know in the comments.
What kind of past did Silpha have before she met Lloyd? Here is some interesting information. In other words, 3 years have passed since she met Lloyd. So, what kind of woman was she 3 years ago? Let's find out.
At this time, Silpha had defeated the Lord of the Forest. Then, her father said something that caught her attention. At this time, he didn't wait until she was 16, so she must have been at least 15 years old. Let's assume she was 15 years old.
Wow! Wow!
Returning to the story, her father encourages her to become an adventurer. However, there is one thing that bothers me personally. I'm bothered by the fact that he calls his own daughter, you. Afterwards, he questions her about the meaning of swinging the sword, but even here, what he says feels odd. That's the kind of character she is, and it may be a habit, but here he calls her by her name. Sorry for the unnecessary addition. Silpha has come to the Adventurers Guild. Seeking new encounters, he joins the guild. But he runs into trouble. Silpha is fully armed to defeat the representative adventurer. His opponent and the spectators are scared. Even so, Silpha guesses that he will have a hard time, but the match begins early. A blow from Silpha. The spectators' faces look like this due to the wind pressure. The opponent is in tatters. The spectators retreat. Silpha laments. Is there no one who can satisfy her? No one more attractive than a sword.
After that, you form a party with other adventurers and take on a quest. Along the way, you are attacked by bandits, a familiar face. A new enemy ally comes to your aid, this guy, familiar. He hits you with an incredibly powerful kick. He's so strong it's laughable. After that, somehow they make peace. There is a terrible monster in the castle. There is a terrible monster. But it attacks with a furious force. Please watch for a moment.
This was a loop attack. I thought I had defeated him, but then I was hit by a mysterious attack and fell. Then, a mysterious man appeared. The secret boss appeared. He was the son of the guy the first had just defeated. He then spoke of a certain being. This being has an enormous magical power. He calls this being, the One, to convey his greatness. He says that this being was born suddenly one day. Yes, it is this God. You get it now, right? This being was born suddenly one day with an enormous amount of magical power.
Afterwards, he shields his ally from an enemy attack and takes a direct hit. A hole appears in the ground at the bottom of the castle. As he falls, he is tormented by regret. The two meet again. There, Silpha remembers a boring social gathering. Silpha had no interest in anything other than the sword. Then, the second prince invites her to serve him. She gently declines and tries to introduce him to her younger brother, but he is nowhere to be found. As she searches, Silpha finds a boy. She is captivated by the sudden magic, but she speaks to the boy. As they talk, indescribable thoughts and emotions well up inside Silpha. Even after they parted ways, these thoughts continue to linger inside her. She decides
he is found by the secret boss. Lloyd quickly disguises himself as a frog. Why a frog? Silpha has a rare heart-melting expression. This is an interesting part of the secret boss's reasonable question. It seems that the secret boss was broadcasting magical radio waves towards him. Lloyd tries to reprimand him, but the secret boss doesn't listen. After one thing and another, he launches an attack, but it's the usual Cheatroid magic. It's incredibly powerful. The secret boss is crazy. Really crazy. He gets beaten up while practicing magic. And then he disappears. After that, Lloyd leaves, leaving a huge mess. But Lloyd's maiden heart wouldn't stay silent.
Soshite ideographic comma. Shirupha ideographic comma. Her companions are also worried, and have this expression. And after receiving an invitation from the second prince, Silpha becomes a maid. Then, with a little regret and gratitude to the second prince, she goes to meet Lloyd. She is immediately overcome with tension. This is serious. If the second prince opens the door without caring, Silpha will be in trouble. Nevertheless, once she meets him, she is drawn to Lloyd. Each time they talk, she is charmed by his humanity, and she decides to support him.
Next, let's look at Silpha's fighting power. As a former adventurer, she is strong by default. Personally, I would like to see her fight against a master swordsman or the strongest female knight. Because of this, Silpha also fights against demons. When she loses her temper, she is scary. Especially when it comes to Lloyd, she is scary. Even in battle, she does not lose her temper, but just goes straight ahead and defeats her enemies with her specialty, Langris-style swordsmanship. Her strength increases with each battle, and she uses a pendant that Lloyd gave her, which contains the formula of sacred magic, to defeat enemies with new techniques. The sharpness of her techniques increases with each battle, becoming more elegant and vivid. I would like to see her fight against a master swordsman or the strongest female knight. Recently, I feel that there have been more depictions of Silpha hitting a wall. It is an opportunity for her to grow, but perhaps the enemies have also become stronger. The enemy's techniques are strong, and his own strength alone is not enough. At that time, he gets a magic sword from a weapon shop. Wow, this is its size. It's a great sword that makes you feel like it. It is said that if you can swing it, it is the strongest sword, but it is heavy and few people can handle it, so it has been called junk. But Silpha can handle it. That alone makes Silpha in a class of its own. And then Silpha's technique explodes. Langris-style great swordsmanship explodes. Silpha using a great sword is also cool. What did you think? This time, we focused on Silpha. He is a very good character with a great sword and a strong love for his master, isn't he? Recently, the Stampede arc has started and it's getting more and more interesting. Strong characters appear every episode like a raging wave, and I can't take my eyes off it. One thing that surprised me in particular was Silpha's father. The father of the knight commander who was called the Sword Saint of Saloum has gone missing. As expected, everyone is unable to hide their agitation and is even more confused by the difference in military strength, but then Lloyd appears. He uses his magic to create an insane amount of soldiers. These strong characters who were once enemies are truly intimidating. I like the depiction here. He then challenges Lloyd to a fight. This is to confirm Lloyd's true strength. He has a vague idea of it. If that is true, his desire for him to help his father and his respect for chivalry are mixed together, resulting in complicated emotions. He carefully chooses his words and pretends not to notice Lloyd, his master, as he asks Lloyd, but Lloyd himself doesn't seem to get it. He challenges Lloyd with all his might, but he is no match for him, and when Silpha honestly expresses her feelings, he says this: "I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next." This concludes the main story. Now, regarding future plans. I like Jidden, so I'm wondering if I should feature him. He's overflowing with coolness and intelligence. He's not as skilled as Lloyd, but he's fine. So, please tell me in the comments about your favorite characters and scenes. I'd love to use this as reference for my future activities. Also, please subscribe to my channel and rate it highly, as it will encourage me.
See you next time.